2019 has been a bumper year for us Gunpla fans because there were so many kits that's been released this year alone, and this is a best of 2019 kits. We're gonna start with the high resolution model series. This year alone, there were 3 separate kits released under this category, and that's actually quite a surprise because the previous year we only had 2, and the year before that there was only about 1 or 2 each year. So that kind of gives you a sense that Bandai is ramping up production for this category, given that the demand seems to be there for us Gunpla fans. And on number 3, of course, is the Gundam Astray Noir. It carries all the same articulation, same muscular body design that was carried over from the red frame. Surprisingly, we didn't get a lot of people talking or buying this kit. I suppose the biggest challenge for this kit, despite it having great finishing and also textures on some of the armor parts such as the shoulder and also on the thigh as well, given that this kit is clad in black and grey finishing, so maybe those colors just really didn't pop, and I think a lot of fans just kind of give this a gloss over, of course, given how the finishing and the paint job don't really pop that well in real life as well. So unfortunately, this kit is number 3, even though I'm glad that Bandai is focusing a lot more in this category. Number 2 on my list is actually the Gundam Wing Endless Swords version. Now that kit, I have to say, it looks really beautiful. The colors just pop, and you have to actually go to a hobby store, or if your friend have actually built one, go and see the kit in person. The colors and the finishing is seriously superb and amazing, and I guess maybe that's why Bandai decided to release that as a premium Bandai exclusive. So you had to actually pay a little bit more for the Endless Swords version, and this kit was actually released way back in February 2019. Again, like I said, the official pictures don't really do the kit justice, so if you do get a chance to actually see the kit in real life, go and see it. You will probably understand what I'm talking about, and you'll probably buy this kit after you see it. Now, coming back to the high resolution model, I'm kind of hoping that Bandai will actually release the Lupus Rex Barbatos for the high resolution model as well. So let's see if they actually follow all this up, because they actually released the original Barbatos mobile suit and also the 6th form. But yeah, those 2 kits just didn't seem that nice in my opinion, right? So what is the best high resolution model kit for 2019? I think it's without a doubt, it has to be the God Gundam. And I think most of you will probably agree with me on the God Gundam as the best high resolution model released this year alone. Number 1, the God Gundam actually has a very beefy, very thick, very human, muscular-like design language. So it doesn't have that boxy or very thin mobile suit design. So Bandai has given the God Gundam a muscular look. It looks like it's ready to go for battle, and obviously the great articulation, the great poses that you can actually do with a kit is simply superb. And I think most of the collectors who actually got the God Gundam would agree and attest to that. However, no matter how great the God Gundam is under the high resolution model series, you do have to be careful, because there were some instances, and some of the collectors who have actually built it have mentioned that some parts and some of the joints are a little bit tight, and if you twist it a little bit too hard, yeah, you start to see some stress on some of the parts. So you have to be very careful if you do get the God Gundam, despite how great is the kit to be able to be posed with all the great articulation points. Do be careful when you play with the God Gundam. I'm actually planning to get this kit sometime next year, because there's just way too many kits under my radar that I've actually bought but have not actually built, right? So there it is. This is our top 3 high resolution model, and let's get on to the next category now. Now let's move on to the SDCS and SD series. And I have to say, this year, despite only having 6 SDCS release, they were all quite good. But number 3 on my list is actually the Sisquidi, or Sisquidi, no matter how you want to pronounce it. I actually built both of them, the normal color and also the ones with carbon color. And I have to say, they actually look pretty good. And with a Gundam, with a mono eye, what more could you want, right? The thing that I'm planning to do with my security build is actually to pin them and to give them a flat coat finishing. So maybe that'll make them look a little bit more cooler in my opinion. Second on my list for SD kit or SDCS kit for 2019 is actually the Gundam Wing Zero. I have to say, for a Gundam Wing Zero, it's been quite a while since I've seen one that has been done so well in a SD form. And given the gimmick that you're able to actually close both arms together with the beam rifle, that definitely is a very big plus. So with the articulation is an added bonus, because usually SD kids don't really have that great articulation for kids at this size. So what is number one? Well, I'm not sure whether you guys agree with me, but I have to say it is the SDBDR Valkylander. It's definitely a very unique kit, with the Zero Maru from last year that kind of gave me the same vibe, but this time around, this guy should transform into a beautiful dragon. Yes, there are quite a lot of hollow parts, but given that this is a SD kit after all, that is to be expected. But that transforming gimmick of the kit itself, I think that merits why it should win the best SD kit for 2019. Yes, I know the anime so far has been very disappointing despite having a very promising start, but let's see, maybe season 2 there'll be more gimmicks, or there'll be a different color version of the Valkylander from the series. And what's on my high grade top 3? Well, I think number 3 is definitely the Chazaku 2 Great Combat version. This is from the Origin series, and I think if you built the previous kit before, this is nothing new. It just has a little bit more stickers, different armaments and different parts as well for the weapon. So essentially, still some of you actually quite appeal with the color combination here, which is a little bit different from the Zaku 2 that was released before in the high grade series. So this will actually go great with the RX 70-2, the Origin version is coming out sometime next year. So what's number 2 on my list? Well, I think the Gundam Build Diverse Rewrite series, the main mobile suit, the core Gundam, and together with the Earth 3, Venus 2, Mars 4, that is actually a quite refreshing and interesting concept, I would say. Because the last few anime series has been quite normal, I would say. So given that this time around we're actually able to integrate a core Gundam into their flight pack or mobile suit, that's actually something that's quite refreshing and interesting. The only thing that bugs me a little bit is how small the kit really is, even for a 1:144 scale. So I was kind of hoping that the kit will should be a lot bigger. So let's see if Bandai will actually be releasing this as a 1/100 or a master grade kit. So far there's been no news or indication on whether they will be releasing a master grade for this series, so I'm quite worried, because yes, the series has been disappointing so far. It had a promising start, but to be very frank, the last 5-6 episodes has been so draggy, so slow. I think quite a lot of people have been losing interest in the series so far. But nevertheless, the kit in itself, it has great articulation. The entire concept of merging with the flight unit for Venus, Mars, and even Earth is actually quite interesting. And number 1 on my list is actually the HGCE Destiny Gundam. You'll be surprised, right? I have to say, this kit, while it look bland because it is a little bit more anime accurate than going for a lot more details, it actually fixed quite a lot of the issues from the previous Destiny Gundam. Number 1, I think the joints are definitely a lot better, and the articulation and even the wing pack in itself is a lot bigger compared to the previous Destiny Gundam. So I think together with the effect parts as given as part of the entire bundle, this is definitely the kit to get for high grade in 2019. Now, definitely in 2019 there were a lot of 1/144 scale high grade kits released, and I would love to hear from you guys what you think of my top 3 selection for high grade in 2019. Yes, I missed out the Silver Bullet Suppressor and quite a lot more. So if you disagree with my selection, sound off in the comment section down below. Now, before I talk about the real grade and master grade category, I just want to talk about how this year has not only been great for Gundam and Gunpla model kits in general, but in terms of kits for Digimon and also vintage model kits such as the Mazinkaiser, the Grendizer, those really appeal to me as well. And I think judging from the views that I got from the War Greymon video that I made recently, quite a lot of you were excited and actually bought a kit as well. And of course, for me, being a big fan of vintage mobile suits series such as the Grendizer, the Mazinkaiser as well, those two kits came out this year, and I'm actually planning to buy the Mazinkaiser very soon. I already have the Grendizer in my collection, but just waiting to actually have time to actually build both of those kits. Now, before I get to the other categories, I just want to rant a little bit. I think for 2019, probably the biggest disappointment in terms of Gunpla kit release is actually the EXS or the S Gundam. While there were quite a lot of buzz, for us, we thought that it's going to be a version 1.5 or version 2.0. There's going to be a lot of new improvements, new gimmicks, but it turns out that the kit is not even really a 1.5 or 2.0, but it's more like a minor step upgrade to maybe 1.2, 1.3. So everything else is practically the same, but just different armor parts and different details, and that is pretty much it. So I suppose for those of you who actually built those two EXS and S Gundam before, you'll probably be happy that at least now I get everything in one box. But the build experience is roughly pretty much the same, and there's actually quite a lot of recycled parts from the Deep Striker as well. So that is the only thing that's a bit of a bummer, because I think most fans wanted a big evolutionary change into a 2.0 master grade kit that they're paying good money for. So I guess those were the honorable mentions and also the disappointments for 2019 as a worst Gunpla kit in the market. I wouldn't say worst, but it's just really disappointing given how much you're paying for the kit itself. Now for real grade, there really isn't much to talk about, given that this year, 2019, was the 10th anniversary of Premium Bandai, and it's quite evident that Bandai was focusing very heavily on Premium Bandai releases. So this year, apart from the Nu Gundam, there was only the other releases, which was Crossbone Gundam as a normal release. Everything else was a Premium Bandai in 2019. To be very frank, I was a little bit disappointed because I'm a very big real grade fan, and I have almost every single normal release kit in my collection. But given that this year there were so few releases for the real grade, it was just very disappointing, right? I think it was quite clear there were only two choices for us to really evaluate, and number two, we have the real grade Crossbone. Even though I'm a very big Crossbone design fan, the thing that really avoided me from buying this kit was how small the Crossbone real grade was. And I've actually heard quite a lot of you who actually built the real grade Crossbone, you got very frustrated because, to be frank, real grade is already very small in itself, and for it to actually go even smaller than the normal 1/4 scale for the Crossbone, I think at my age, my eyesight probably couldn't take it, and I probably would lose all the small tiny parts. So I'm avoiding this guy for now, but I suppose for those of you who still managed to actually build the Crossbone and love it, I think, yeah, it's probably number two this year, given that there's so few releases for the real grade, at least for retail this year. I think number one is a no-brainer, the Nu Gundam, or you can buy the Nu Gundam with the fin funnel effect parts, which is a little bit more expensive, but I think that should be the one that you should buy. It's definitely one of the better real grade releases in recent memory. It's been a long time since we get so much buzz for a real grade kit, and I think Bandai really made the right decision this year to actually push out the Nu Gundam for a real grade format. Maybe next year there will be a real grade Barbatos, and I know that a lot of you are asking for it, so I think with next year being the Gunpla 40th anniversary for Bandai, this year is the 40th anniversary for the Gundam franchise. So let's see how it goes, right? Maybe they'll pull out something special this year. Next year. Now obviously this year there hasn't been quite a lot of master grade releases. I'm not going to talk about the F90 because frankly speaking, that being a premium Bandai is kind of out of reach for some of us, and with all the expansion packs being sold separately, I'm just going to leave that out for now. But I think one of the top releases this year is definitely the Gundam Dynames. For those of you who have built it, you will know that it actually has great articulation, great gimmicks, awesome detail as well. And I was only surprised that I didn't see that many Dynames entry in GBWC 2019 this year. So maybe next year we'll see a lot more of the Dynames entry. But for now, my question to you guys is, how many of you actually bought the regular Dynames, and how many of you actually bought the Transarm version of the Dynames as well? I have to say the Transarm version of the Dynames looks really good. So these two kits, the normal and the Transarm version, is definitely number 2 as the top master grade for 2019. And what is number 1? Well, I think it's a no-brainer. Everyone has been talking about it. That is the master grade Gundam Barbatos. Most stores have sold out and had to quickly reorder second batches. So in Malaysia, I think quite a lot of you who actually bought it, myself included, I just got it not too long ago. Only issue is when I'm going to find time to actually build it, maybe next year. But the Barbatos is actually quite a refreshing build. I think the entire mobile suit itself, the inner frame, everything is different from the regular Gundam that we built in a master grade format. So while this year has not been a great year for those of you who collect 1/100 scale and even master grade, this year has been a very good year for those of you who are focusing on 1/144 scale, and for those of you who love premium Bandai exclusive. Given that this year was the 10th anniversary, so I think it was a no-brainer again for Bandai to focus so heavily on premium Bandai releases this year. For me, well, I think it's just a matter of time before Bandai releases the Lupus Rex in master grade format. I know a lot of you has been asking for it, when is Lupus Rex coming up in the master grade format, but definitely I think that will be a premium Bandai exclusive. So that is my bet on the Lupus Rex coming in as a premium Bandai exclusive. So for now, that is all of our shortlist for top Gunpla kits 2019. And you probably noticed that I missed out quite a lot of premium Bandai releases that I don't include in here. So let me know what you think, if you agree or disagree. And yes, I know I missed out the Reborn series as well, but given there's so few Reborn kit releases here, the Zaku FZ was definitely the top pick for that kit. So I'm just going to leave that out because there's not really much competition for that kit this year. So again, this year has been a bumper year for all of us Gunpla fans, and a lot of you guys who have joined this new hobby and community as well. I welcome all of you, and I hope 2020 will be another busy year for us Gunpla fans. So do stay on to Awesome Toys TV. We will have all the latest news and Gunpla reviews coming up, and also custom build from some GBWC champion, which I will share more news in 2020. For 2019, I want to say a very big thank you for all of you who have subscribed to the channel, who are new to the channel, and for those of you long-time viewers, I thank you for your support, for watching all our videos, and of course the very intense debate in our comment section. Really appreciate it. Sound off in the comment section down below of what you think are my selection for the top 2019 kits for all different categories. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great new year.